Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Still with me today, I have Jide Ologun, legal practitioner and national development advocate, Opeyemi Adamolekun, executive director, In-Office Enough, and Professor David Aworawo, professor of international relations and strategic studies at the University of Lagos. Now, to our next topic of the day, Pope Leo XIV, the first U.S. Catholic pontiff, made his debut tour of St. Peter's Square on Sunday in a Pope mobile, greeting tens of thousands of pilgrims and well-wishers before his inauguration mass. Chicago-born Robert Francis Prevost, who became head of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics on May the 8th, stood in the white vehicle as he drove through cheering crowds, smiling, waving, and making the sign of the cross. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Nigerian President Bola Tinubu were among the hundreds of dignitaries who attended the inauguration mass. After spending 2 decades as a missionary in Peru, the 69-year-old is unknown to many Catholics, but during the past week, he has offered glimpses of the kind of leader he will be. Meanwhile, during his inaugural mass at St. Peter's Square in Vatican City, Pope Leo XIV was officially invested with the traditional papal symbols, the pallium and the fisherman's ring. The pallium, a woolen band worn over the shoulders, symbolizes the Pope's pastoral authority, while the fisherman's ring, custom forged for each pontiff, represents the legacy of St. Peter. Pope Leo XIV also used the occasion to lay out the priorities of his papacy, addressing a crowd of world dignitaries. In his homily, he condemned an economic system that exploits both nature and the poorest in society. He spoke against the growing divisions and injustice in the world, calling out hatred, violence, and prejudice.
In questo nostro tempo, vediamo ancora troppa discordia.
In this our time, we still see too much discord, too many wounds caused by hatred, violence, prejudice, the fear of difference, and an economic paradigm that exploits the earth's resources and marginalizes the poorest. For our part, we want to be a small leaven of unity, communion, and fraternity.
Tony Chiejina is a corporate communications expert and a knight of St. Lumumba in the Catholic Church. He joins me now to discuss the ascension and inauguration of Pope Leo XIV and what the future may likely hold for the Church under the new pontiff. Good to have you on This Day Live.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ruben.
I think it's appropriate to call you Sir Tony Chiejina.
Anything goes.
KSM. As a knight of the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Well, today is inauguration day of the Pope. There's been a lot of symbolism, tradition. Over 200,000 people showed up to witness that special occasion. But tell us first about the symbolism of the pallium and of the fisherman's ring, which were central, objects there before the Pope conducted the Mass.
Yeah, thank you, Ruben. Today, a very happy day for Catholics, for Christians all over the world. And a very beautiful weather, nice, warm. And you can see the liturgical vestments for this inauguration. The pallium. So the pallium is made of wool from the lamb. And you can see the pins on the pallium, 3 pins, and they signify the 3 nails on the cross of Christ. So that pallium they're usually made by trappists, that's the monks. It shows the symbolism of a good shepherd. And liturgically, last week was the Good Shepherd Sunday. So it shows you the weight he's carrying on his shoulder. It's just the biblical lamb that is carrying on his shoulder. And he rescued the lamb in search of one that was lost. And that is a symbol of what a good shepherd should be. Looking for the lost, looking for the marginalized, and looking for all after his flocks. Then also you can see the 3 or the 6 emblems of cross there on the pallium. Then the fisherman's ring, symbolism of Peter, St. Peter. The supreme keys has been handed over to him, to the Pope. And you can see how he passionately kissed the ring, showing that, see, this is a symbol of authority. This is for me as a good shepherd to lead my flock. And this is a commitment that I must fulfill. I was looking at some of the things written about him in Peru when he was the bishop, in Peru. They say that he's a good shepherd with the smell of sheep. And you can see that symbolism, smell of sheep and a good shepherd. So it's not only a good shepherd, but he has the smell of sheep, showing that he's very human, very sensitive to the needs of the people, well loved. And also he's an Augustinian. And these are some of the attributes of Augustinians: charity, harmony, unity, love. And also they are highly enlightened. You can see them. He has a PhD in canon law, a degree in mathematics. They're just like the Ignatians, that is the Jesus. So it's a very thin line of difference. So, and that is how he has built up himself.
Okay, the Pope in his homily at the St. Peter's Square talked about unity, talked about love, condemned propaganda, extremism, asked for peace and healing in Gaza, in Ukraine, in other troubled parts of the world. And he also said, well, his own papacy is not going to be autocratic in any way. In other words, what he wants is just togetherness. That's the thrust of his homily. But in your view, what do you think is likely to be his main focus as the Pope, now that his papacy begins effectively today?
So let's look at where he's coming from. An Augustinian. At the same time, his name, where he picked his name, there is something in the name. Pope Leo XIV. We had Pope Leo XIII. So he took his name after Pope Leo XIII. So what is special about Pope Leo XIII? Pope Leo XIII reigned 1878 to 1903. And that was the cusp of Industrial Revolution. So that called for world attention then. So not that science is not good. Science is good, science is progress. But Pope Leo XIII led that champion. He championed it. The social doctrine of the Catholic Church, the thought that exploitation of labor is not good. Laissez-faire capitalism, he condemned it, and even socialism. So he was talking about the dignity of labor. He wrote 87 encyclicals before he died, very prolific writer. And at the same time, 12 of them on the rosary, he popularized the rosary. So Pope Leo XIV, I can tell you, is drawing his strength and is telling you the direction he's also going. So you can see he's talking about dignity, and look at what he said first in his first mass, the challenge of AI, artificial intelligence, how it will affect labor, the dignity of labor, and also how will it affect mankind in terms of not caring for the downtrodden. So these are the things that will shape his pontificate. And also, mind you, why this is AI, is talking about AI, the challenge of AI. You recall Carlo Acutis, he was to be canonized on the 26th of April, but unfortunately, the Pope Francis died. So he's the saint of the millennium. And Carlo Acutis is known for responsible use of technology, how you use technology to evangelize. Evangelize, especially about the Eucharist. He called it the highway to heaven. He evangelized about the Mother Mary And also, he said that a lot of people are carried away by artificial things. See it, and not following the right way which they are created. They are merely being photocopied. And he's advising the young ones, the youth, to move away from it. So I think once the canonization of Kola Acutis is fixed, possibly before the end of the year, then you can see Pope Leo XIV coming out, speaking about this AI. And I can tell you, the youth bulge on that day will be so much. And that is his first encounter. Then he's talking about peace. You can see he's a missionary loved by Pope Francis. So the joy of the gospel. He once said that is a marching order for him, the joy of the gospel. And also, if you check the Fratelli Tutti of Pope Francis, talking about the way the world is so cold, so indifferent to the needs of the people, especially the poor. So he is likely to continue to address those issues of marginalization, of people by the margins, and the poor people. So that is the direction I am thinking that Pope Leo XIV will go. He's going to consolidate
Pope Leo XIV today also said he wants to use the Holy See to be a major force and influence in ensuring global peace. Yes. And he met on the sidelines with the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. But what I find more exciting here was that, some countries from Africa, African leaders were invited. Togo, Morocco, Gabon, and significantly Nigeria. And I saw President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they are looking dapper in, bespoke suit. And he was there, representing us. He also had audience with the Pope. Well, I guess the Catholic community in Nigeria is excited that Nigeria was well represented at that occasion.
I agree with you, Ruben. I can tell you his focus will be on Africa. Far better than...
Whose focus?
Pope Leo XIV. His focus will be on Africa because...
Yeah, because we are always having problems in Africa.
Not only having problems, the population of Catholics... The population of Catholics and Christians are also moving compared to other parts of the world. Okay. Then, for Nigeria, Pope Leo XIV is not new to us. He has the Augustinians in this country. See it? And since 2021, he has visited Nigeria 9 times. So this is not a new terrain for him. So it's a signal that he's sending to Nigeria. I am on my way to your country. And I can tell you, maybe within 3 to 4 years, we'll host Pope Leo XIV. And the Augustinians are growing.
Are you that sure?
The Augustinians are growing in this country. You have them in Lagos, in Benin, in Warri, in Asaba, in Agbo, in Lokoja, in Abuja, in Kaduna. In fact, there are 2 very good bishops who are Augustinians. One is the Bishop of Kano, John Hirugin, and Donatu Sogun, the Bishop of Uromi. So I'm sure they'll be warming up and they'll be happy. And the Augustinian community too. They run schools, very good schools in Nigeria.
But is he a pope of the Augustinians or a pope of the 1.4 billion Catholic community worldwide?
He's a missionary. And you know what a missionary means? And that is the role of Augustinians. The population of Catholics in Nigeria is growing. So, and being a missionary, that is what he's looking out for. To care for his sheep, to feed his lamb, to tend his sheep, and to reach out to the world, preaching peace, preaching progress, and preaching the heart of Jesus Christ. And if you look at the Lexinox, written by the encyclical by Pope Francis, I think that should be his last encyclical. That was in October 2024, about the human and divine love for the heart of Jesus. So it's like in spite of all these things happening, we, the human being, should have a heart of Jesus Christ. And that is what will bring peace. And I can see Pope Leo XIV moving towards that direction. The same direction Pope Leo XIII moved. Has a very good encyclical on the Sacred Heart. So he will be bothered with, listen, the heart of the human being must go in the right direction.
Okay. Just before,
and that is what can bring peace and progress to the world.
Before we begin to wrap this up, let me ask you, how significant is the presence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at that occasion? Because it's not every African leader that was invited. They were very selective.
Yes.
Why do you think Nigeria, has been chosen? That's why the fact that even the president of Nigeria is a Muslim. President Tinubu's spokespersons have been saying no. It's because President Tinubu believes in religious unity, and he promotes religious freedom.
That is the universality of the Catholic Church, ecumenism. Whether you are Muslim or a Christian, see it, bringing all faithful together. So, Bola Ahmed Tinubu going there is the same ideology of the Catholic Church, universalism. They don't select. They believe that every human being is created by God and should serve God. It's also, as I'm saying, it's a signal that I'm soon coming to your country to be with you and also address the challenges in your country. So it's a good thing for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So he should be getting ready. And I won't be surprised the invitation will come.
Really? Okay. I'm sure Nigerians, not just the Catholics, every one of us
Exactly.
will be happy.
I mean, you can see the number of people that turned up all over the world, all the different faiths, Muslims, Christians, all over. So it shows you the way the Catholic Church, the doctrine, what the Catholic Church preaches. Okay. Unity, ecumenism.
Okay, Knight of Saint Mulumba, which is the cap you are wearing here now. In your other engagements, you are a spokesperson for the Dangote Group. Please tell us, when next are you people going to reduce the pump price of fuel? That's your other job. Tell us about that before I let you go.
Ruben, this is a different dialogue altogether. So
I know.
Yes,
the one that
you can't mix it.
Beyond religion.
You can't mix it.
Pump price of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, that is given. You have seen progressive reduction. And I can assure you it's going to continue.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir Tony Chiejina, Knight of Saint Mulumba, spokesperson for the Dangote Group. But he's here wearing the cap of a Knight of Saint Mulumba. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ruben.